Hi, this is Dodger and you're watching my show. Do you guys hear that? Sounded like there was a clown trying to Morse code me a message. I'm gonna go ahead and close my door, that's weird. Oh god, I can still kind of hear it, it's weirding me out. So hopefully you guys have heard about the longest day of gaming sale that's going on GOG.com right now. If you have not, it is a 24-hour-long sale where lots of games are up to 85% off, and it's the number of games that are on sale there right now is crazy. And remember, GOG has a very staunch no DRM policy, so if you download a game, it's not going to download anything else weird onto your system, so that's very nice. Yeah, it's been going on for a few hours now, so definitely go check that out as soon as you can, as soon as this video's up if you didn't know. So for those of you who are not up to date on it, remember Xbox One came out with all of this DRM stuff, with all of this used game stuff, always online possibilities, like just things that were really upsetting people. And at E3 they were kind of blown out of the water by Sony saying, look, we're not going to have anything to do with any of that. You can do whatever you want with this system. So on Wednesday, literally while we were doing the TGS podcast, Xbox did a complete 180 on their feelings on all of that, resulting of course in many hashtag Xbox 180 joke tweets that I was beaten to the punch on, and I was very upset. So now you don't have to log in every 24 hours, you can trade games between people, all of these things that wound up being major issues. The way that TB put it, which I think is probably the best way to put it, is that Microsoft was playing the long game. They were hoping that eventually more companies and developers would want to work with them because they were preventing piracy, even if they were alienating some of us. I don't think that they expected it to turn into as big of a deal as it did. So they wound up having to kind of backpedal, which I think most of us are probably okay with, but there are still plenty of people that are really upset with them for even suggesting it in the first place. It's split into two factions. One group saying, look, they realized their mistake and they decided not to do all of this stuff, so can we just take that as a victory? And then the other side being like, we can never trust them again. Because what it all comes down to is that even if they say, look, you don't need to be online to play games, on our end, that actually just means that in the future, if there's a game that says, hey, we want to be always online, we want to have all this DRM involved in our game, then Xbox can be like, it's not our fault, they wanted it. So unfortunately, our prediction right now is that there's still going to be some of that involved, but Xbox is saying that it's not going to be from them, it's going to be from the developers and the publishers. On a much more lighthearted note, those of you who are very upset about no new F-Zero games, Miyamoto mentioned it a little, but unfortunately he wasn't mentioning it in a way where he was like, yo, we're gonna like make an F-Zero game. They want to make more F-Zero games, but the problem is Miyamoto has admitted that he has no idea what to do with the franchise. He doesn't quite know where it should go and what direction it should take. Which is fair. You shouldn't just make those decisions willy-nilly with your IP. They realized people were let down, they realized that people want a new F-Zero game, but they want to make sure that when they make it, and if they make it, that it's good. And that it starts the process of taking F-Zero in a new direction so that it can expand. But hey, at least we still have Captain Falcon in Smash Brothers. As I found a bit of news, those of you who are big into Halo, you probably remember when Halo 4 came out and they said this is going to be the beginning of the Reclaimer trilogy. They have now decided against calling it a trilogy because they feel like it was too constricting, so instead it is going to be called the Reclaimer Saga. I think the first instinct for people is to say, oh, well this is a sign that you didn't actually have a plan for this trilogy at all, if it's so out in the wind that you can just turn it into a saga whenever you want. But sometimes this is a sign that they actually are so invested that there are elements of the story that they want very badly to expand on. And they're saying, oh man, like we said it would be a trilogy and we outlined it as a trilogy, but there are these other elements that I think would be really cool as side stories, but should we just call them side stories or... So I think it makes sense to say, you know what, we're just gonna call this a saga. We're going to make a bunch of games and elements that are going to all apply to the same storyline, the same parts, but We don't want to constrict ourselves to just a trilogy, and I get that. Also dollar bills, you know, dollar bills are a thing. Anywho, that is my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you want to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it will take you to my other channel. But otherwise, I hope you guys had an amazing week, and I will talk to you again on Monday. Bye-bye! Mwah! We can never trust them again.